See the tape. The tape is gone. Mr. Otchers, good evening. How are you?
Sure.
Now, let's have a look. We are here to release a very quick late night tutorial regarding the FAQs that we've received from you guys about Teams over the course of this first week. So, without further ado, we'll crack off with backgrounds. In fact, with a few things that live under the More Actions menu. Now, these three little dots up at the top, you can click for More Actions, and inside there, you find the option to apply background effects. So let's have a look. Looking at applying background effects, I can blur out the background of my beautiful attic, for instance, by selecting it and hitting apply, and there we go. You can no longer see the massive mess on the table behind me. I can take it away by clicking it away and hitting apply. Mr. Otchers, would you like to treat us to a background?
Let's do that. How about this one here?
Splendid. Here we go. The sun is out, the sky is blue.
The sun is out. Yeah, not
Excellent.
really at this time of the day, but okay. Let's assume.
Let's assume. Indeed. That's it's. We'll have a positive mindset about things. Next up, views. Through More Actions, when you have more people in the room, you'll be able to select the large gallery view, basically makes it look like Zoom, or you'll be able to select the together mode, in which all of your faces are projected into one of a number of different environments. They're fun to have a look at. I think the large gallery is probably the most useful for class. One thing that is important that I noticed today with the together mode is that not everyone is in the same order in everyone's screen. I did ruin my mentor class this morning by trying to orchestrate a Mexican wave across the together mode, and none of it made any sense until we got some screenshots from different student screens and everyone was sat in different places according to everyone else. So it made it very difficult to orchestrate such a thing. Now, views off the list. I've got the big green pen out. Next up, personal messaging. Now, let's imagine that Harold and I are together in class and that there's a load of awful children here as well, and that I want to say something to Harold without them knowing. Now, what I can do is I can come here into the participants list, and if I click on Harold's name or just hover over it ordinarily, I have the option to send a quick message. Hi, Harold. Mr. Otchers, do you have a message?
Yeah, you've possibly heard it coming in.
I was actually starting to panic that it wouldn't send. So, PMing during a class, lekker straightforward. Moving on, we're knocking them down quickly today, huh? Breakout rooms. Just to the left of More Actions at the top, there's a little square with the big square in it. It doesn't mean a family of squares, it means breakout rooms. Now, how many rooms do you need? Ordinarily, I guess we've got 20 to 28 kids in a room. 5, 6 or 7 is usually kind of okay. Obviously, for me, I can only do one. Up until now, I've only ever had students automatically assigned into a breakout room. It seems fairer that Teams randomly splits them up. So automatically create the rooms. This takes a little while, so you kind of have to play for time whilst it's creating it. Now, you're at the point where you have breakout rooms, but everyone is still together in the central meeting. What we're going to do is we're going to send Mr. Otchers off to a breakout room, and then I'm going to send an announcement to that breakout room. Then I'm going to visit the breakout room, and then we're going to end the breakout rooms, and we're going to pull Mr. Otchers back to class. That's the goal. So farewell, Mr. Otchers. I click Start Rooms, and at a certain point, it's going to hoover you off into the great unknown.
Talk to myself.
I've also noticed, by the way, that when I send notifications, they come through flagged as high importance, which it makes them less ignorable, but also a lot less polite. Now, here we are. Mr. Otchers has gone off to his breakout room. I can enjoy a cup of tea here, nice and quietly by myself. You'll notice up here, I have my little team style menu with the 3 dots. I can click to make an announcement. Hi, Mr. Odgers. I am coming to visit. Smiley face. Send it. Try and put the smiley face on there to offset the urgent message. Now, hovering over room number 1, again on the 3 little dots, I can click them and I have the option to join the room, to rename the room, or to close the room. I'm going to join it in that case. Now it puts my other meeting on hold. Hi, Mr. Archers, you look busy.
Indeed.
I'm so impressed. And you have your video on here.
I was going crazy here all by myself.
Sweet. Hopefully in a good way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, inside the breakout room, the students who are there have the option to use the meeting chat, just as usual. They have the option to turn their cameras on and off and, to speak to each other, etc., etc. If they want to use the whiteboard, then they can do, but they have to have installed it first, which the majority of mine have been reluctant to do. Now, Mr. Hodges, I'm going to leave the breakout room. It's been nice to come and see you, but I'll see you back in class in a moment. That's the compensation.
I'll see you in a bit.
Okay. So I'm leaving the breakout room now, as we speak. I'm going back to my normal meeting, which has been on hold since I was away. I resume it, and I close the rooms. Now, I guess if I was going to be a little more polite, I could have sent a notification saying, "Dear Mr. Odgers, this breakout room will close in just a moment or two." But as it turns out, I am not that person. So, breakout rooms. We can put a strike through them. Mr. Odgers has returned.
Back again.
No more Lost Gardens of Boredom listening to me talk from Mr. Odgers. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to draw something very quickly on the whiteboard, which we can find in the Share Content menu. Just up here, the square with the up arrow into it. Ignoring various different screen sharing options or PowerPoints, I can click on the whiteboard. And this is going to open a whiteboard that Mr. Odgers and I can both see. Now, it's kind of straightforward. I'm going to choose a collaborative whiteboard so that he and I can both write on it. It is super basic, but you can draw things, etc. That's my artist's impression of what would happen if a tennis ball became a person. You can change your pen colours, you can rub stuff out, etc. There's not really a great deal of point in going through it all in dramatic detail. You can zoom in and out using the Alt and Scroll commands. You can move the whiteboard around, which is kind of nice. You can write in chapters. So once you've kind of filled this bit up with all your lovely drawings, then you can scroll down a little bit at the end. At the end of the whole process, once you've made your notes, you have the option over here to export the image, to export the contents of the whiteboard as PNG. So it's a little image file, which you can then share with the other members of the class if you want to give them kind of an immortalised copy of your notes. Do bear in mind, obviously, that there are better whiteboards available out there. The freehand option, which you have to install the app for, it's a much better drawing program. It's not perfect. You can't delete part of a line, which is one of my pet hates, but it is a little bit better. More colours, more lines, shapes, etc. It's still not Paint, sadly. We'll stop presenting that. And that brings us to our tip of the week, I guess we could name it, submitted by Mr. Mindsma from the Science Department directly into my ear during SAM. Now, Mr. Mindsma pointed out, much to many of our surprise, that if you go to the participants list, show participants, and you click the ... next to it, you have the option to download an attendance list. Happy Christmas. For those of you who are in a pinch at the end of class, or just don't really want to go through the formal process of calling the register out, then you can download an attendance list. It's a snapshot for who's in your room at that moment. Now, that hopefully summarises all of the pointers that we have in addressing your FAQs from this week. Please do keep your questions coming in to myself and to Harold and to Niels and to Shah. And
Absolutely.
Between us, we should be able to be helpful. Thank you also to people who are sending me a whole bunch of questions this week that I couldn't answer. I've tried to give you sort of satisfactory responses even though I didn't actually quite know the answer, and I'm talking to you, Mr. Rutgering. Thank you for pushing at the edge of what we're doing. For the rest, I think we can only bid you a good night, and look forward to seeing you either online or in person very soon.
Indeed.
Farewell, chaps.